You asked for it. Here it is. It's a podcast from Apathetic Enthusiasm.
Coming to you live from inside Gotron, at least one part of Gotron. I don't actually know which part of Gotron we're in. I made a left at some point, ended up in Albuquerque, and now I'm back here? No matter, arm, leg, or head, we're reporting live on Interdimensional RSS, the unofficial Rick and Morty podcast.
Hello, everybody. Oh, jeez. Oh, gosh.
Travis, I want to say this. That was dedicated to Eric Bauza, who is one of the guest stars in this episode that we're going to talk about later, and he's also one of the Looney Tunes characters. And so, as I was writing this intro, Travis, bear with me, I was thinking of Bugs Bunny in the classic cartoon shorts with him and Daffy Duck, where they make a wrong turn in Albuquerque. Knew I should have made that left at Albuquerque, right? It's dedicated to him. Eric Bauza, thank you so much for listening to the show. Thank you for being a part of the show. Our favorite guest of all time. shout out to him.
Shout out. Thank you for being here. Anyway, welcome to Interdimensional RSS. I'm Travis. He's Brandon. And yep. We are on the downslope. We are headed towards that sweet season finale of season 5, Rick and Morty, counting down every episode. We've been here week in and week out, sometimes more than once a week. You never know. I mean, sometimes twice even. Yeah, maybe
once, maybe twice, maybe 2 times, 3 times a lady.
3 times a podcast. Anyway, we make this podcast just for you, Unity. So thank you so much for coming back, listening to this as we talk about your favorite, unquestionably your favorite television show of all time, Rick and Morty. No one could question that. And if it's not your favorite show, that's fine too. Let's get to our social media links. So over on Twitter, we're at Rick and Morty Pod. On Facebook, facebook.com/Rick and Morty Podcast. On Instagram, Rick and Morty Podcast. And you can email us, rickandmortypodcast@gmail.com. We're on the web. All right. We're on Reddit, rickandmorty.reddit.com for now. All right. We're on there for now. It's starting to wear on me, Brandon. I don't know how much longer I can stick around the subreddits. There's some great things out there, but you got to bring the love, people. If you love this show, you got to get out to rickandmorty.reddit.com or rickandmortypodcast.reddit.com, our subreddit. You can also find this podcast at rickandmortypod.com. Streaming live right now on Twitch. Twitch.tv/Apathetic Enthusiasm. You can also catch video versions of the podcast anytime at youtube.com/Apathetic Enthusiasm. If you're watching on YouTube, like, subscribe, do all those fun things. We appreciate you being here. Finally, you can support the show. apatheticenthusiasm.com/shop. That's where you're going to find our TeePublic page. You can get t-shirts with our faces, with other faces, Rick and Morty faces, lots of great artwork on a t-shirt. You can buy it out there at TeePublic, or go to our Patreon, patreon.com/apathetic enthusiasm, where probably, maybe, not likely, by the end of the season, we'll have bonus content out there. We say it every week, and we don't deliver. But lots of love to all of our patrons at patreon.com. Thank you.
Yep. What are you doing this weekend, Travis? You want to hang out and knock a few of those bad boys out? The Olympics will be over by then.
The Olympics should be over by then. So yeah, that's a possibility. We could maybe knock some out, and I think I have
all right.
Depending on whether or not a global pandemic affects a Foo Fighters concert, I should have plenty of time.
Looking to the vaccine to save me.
Yeah.
Looking for CDC guidance. That's Dave Grohl's famous song, yep. Learning to Vaccinate. Off their second album. I actually prefer their first album, I Stay Away, parentheses, COVID.
Call it
social
distancing. Yeah, that's it right there. Yeah. So but we're gonna have some commentary tracks. We're gonna get them for you. It's a promise.
There's one more thing before we move on to anything else. make sure you go to lootcrate.com and use the code RMP15 for your 15% off your very first Loot Crate. That's right, Loot Crate, where you can get your dreams in a box to you monthly or quarterly, whatever it is that you're paying for. Make sure you do that, because you don't know sometimes you don't even know what your dreams are. I had a dream the other day where I was singing Starship's Jane. It's a great song. I don't know why I was singing it, but oh,
Yeah.
miracle. It's been stuck in my head. If only you believe what I believe in miracles, so would I.
Okay. Yeah. So get
I.
your dreams delivered in a Loot Crate. Also, one of my favorite like half-assed branding things that you've done this season, Brandon, is I think it was like a tweet or a Facebook post where you literally shared like a Loot Crate clickable link and then just said something lootcrate.com RNP15. Like you didn't even really sell it. You're just like something RMP15, 15% off. That was the best. So yeah, Loot Crates, you can go get those. Rick and Morty specific Loot Crates, you can go get those too. Yeah, how you doing? You holding up all right? You feeling energized? You ready to go? I know it's coming off a wild weekend. It can be tough.
Oh man, I am stoked. I'm ready to rock. I'm ready to rock this.
Okay, well,
let's rock this.
In the sake,
how are you doing?
In the spirit of rocking, I'm fine. I'm fine.
Okay, that's good.
We'll get through it. All right. In the spirit of rocking this, let's get into our first segment, which is semi-pertinent news.
Dun 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 bam 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 dun 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 dun. It's the semi-pertinent news. Dun 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 dun, coming to your ears. Dun 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 dun. It's semi-pertinent news. Dun dun dun. Fuck you. And that's how it ends. That's how every rock song ends generally. Like if you ever when you go to a Foo Fighters concert, that's how Grohl's gonna end it. He's like, yeah, woo, I love Everlong. Fuck you, and that's how it ends.
And that's it.
That's how it'll end.
And then all the lights go down and they just walk off the stage, drop their instruments,
and when they're encore, and then they come out just with a middle finger and like cross the stage and then leave the stage again.
Yep.
Great band. It was the first concert I went to.
And they're going to say semi-pertinent news is what they're going to say. Yeah. All right. So we do have semi-pertinent news. And this one, thank goodness, coming in just under the wire in terms of this recording. We have a brand new short that is available for your viewing pleasure. Your viewing pleasure. You can check this out over on YouTube. This is called Summer Meets God (parentheses Rick Meets Evil). And I have some friends. I don't know if they're friends. I have people that I know who are they're big anime fans, Brandon. I don't know if you knew that. They enjoy the anime culture, and they were a little let down by this recent episode of Rick and Morty because of the title. They thought, oh, it's going to be way more anime than it was. Well, fear not. If you're a great big anime fan, then go check out this episode, this short. It's we have the link in the show notes. But yeah, this is a way more anime version of Rick and Morty. It's not even in English, so it's Did you watch it? Did you watch the short, Brandon?
I did, and we say it's a short, but it's half of a regular size episode, even a little more than half of a regular size episode. It's about 15 minutes long, and I did watch it. I watched the entire thing. It is very, very good as far as the animation goes. The thing with some of the anime shorts that they've had for Rick and Morty, I don't always get it on first watch, because it's very, very, it's kind of confusing, and it's David Lynch-esque in the sense that there's weird stuff that happens, and there is a story I know somewhere in there, but it's not always super clear. And you should watch multiple times to figure it out. I mean, for the most part, I understand what happened, but what I really liked is that it's a good, um, it is a good compliment to this episode for those fans who wanted more anime out of their Rick and Morty, with all the Gotron ferrets,
Right. Yeah,
with the
that's for sure.
with the Gotron ferrets actually being a part of the anime short. So I thought that was a good thing to be like, yeah, maybe you didn't get what you wanted because of it was a Godfather parody. Here's an actual anime for you folks.
Yeah, and there's some really random nods to past episodes. There's an appearance by Dr. Wong in this episode, or
Oh yeah.
excuse me. Uh, so Dr. Wong's in it. Very different utilization of the Gotron ferrets, and yeah, I don't know. I think it's cool. Summer dates an AI or something, right? So
Well, no, that's the thing is she doesn't date an AI, because Beth in the episode is like, "Hey, I recognize that voice," because it ends up being Jerry. That's why she recognizes the voice, because Delta is Jerry inside the Go-Go-Tron, and then Summer at the very end of the episode gets to the robot. I don't know if you watched the post credits to it, but
I
they're
didn't
post
I didn't know there was a post credits.
yes, they're post credits, and Summer goes up to the robot, and then Jerry comes out of the robot, and she's upset by it.
Yeah, that would have changed things a little bit for
Yeah.
me.
It makes the ending make more it makes the short make more sense when you actually look at the post credits. It ties it together like a rug, like the Big Lebowski. Really tied the room together.
Yeah, yeah. This is I have the post credits playing right now, and Summer saying that she wants to do very intimate things with the Gotron driver. Yeah, she's very
Yeah.
she's very grossed out when it does turn out to be Jerry. So there you go. Go watch it. Let us know what you think. Let's see. That was, I believe, written and directed by Takashi Sano.
Mhm.
Apologies for pronunciation, but yeah, very cool. Much more anime-ish, and like a whole nother bonus episode. So good stuff.
Speaking of bonus episodes, we will record that eventually, or for Patreon. I don't want, yeah, but then again, I don't want to talk about that right now. Instead, what I want to talk about, Travis, is the Reddit post of the week. Now, you alluded to not really wanting to go into Reddit. You're starting to get a little tired of it, right? Not you're tired of Reddit, but it's just the fans, especially in their disagreements, can start to wear on you, right? Whereas we generally like the season, there have been misses. I would say. I don't know if I'd claim any of them to be hits necessarily, but for the most part, it's an okay season. There are the polar extremes of one side or the other to the fan base where they say this is the worst season ever. Other people are like this is a great season, and those folks are fighting. So this brings us to the Reddit post of the week, brought to you by Technoshadow with a post that is 14,000 plus upvotes. It is titled "Current State of This Sub," and what it is an image of the decoy episode of Rick and Morty where Scarecrow Rick is trying to harvest the skin off of the other Ricks. And the top portion says users that hate everyone, then a de-skinned Rick, people who dislike season 5, then people who dislike people that dislike season 5, then people who dislike people that dislike the people who dislike season 5, then people that dislike the people who dislike the people who dislike the people who dislike, so on and so forth. And then the bottom image is the end of the episode with Rick, Morty, Space Beth, regular Beth, Jerry, and Summer, and it says mods and people who haven't been in this sub for over a month. And you sent this to me. It feels pretty accurate, right? Because in the end, we we all want this show to be good. We all want to enjoy the fandom. And it seems like to me that people have just gotten into the habit of getting pissed off at each other for having differences of opinion. And
Yeah.
then it's like an echo chamber and an infinite loop where it's like and feedback. It's a feedback loop. And pretty soon the sub is going to explode.
Well,
So
and
anyway.
it's weird to me because you post the live discussion thread as well as the post-show discussion thread, and I welcome that work that you do. I don't have a voice for some reason, which is awful for podcasting. I'm sorry, everybody.
Yeah, it is. You're awful.
Yeah, I am awful just as a human being. But that brings me to Reddit, right? So I go to check out the post-show discussion, see what the fans are thinking. And last night, after watching an episode that I thought was pretty good,
yeah,
so many comments. This episode was awful. Hate the show. The show is bad. I give up on this show. Blah blah. And I'm just like, wow. Okay. Like, I don't know if these people are just really hard to please, or if I'm a Rick and Morty apologist for the sake of this podcast. But like, I think we've definitely seen some bad episodes, but I didn't think this episode was particularly bad, and I think it was a return to form in a lot of ways for Rick and Morty to earlier seasons. So for I don't know, it might just be that the most unhappy people are the most vocal, right? When you go check reviews for a restaurant and everybody that had a bad experience leaves reviews, and the people that had a good time just go home happy and full. Yeah, maybe that's the case. Maybe
that's true. Maybe it's not. But regardless, the subreddit is full of folks that have opinions. We can't stave off everybody's opinions. Some people are going to like it, some people are going to hate it, and that is your right as a redditor.
Yes.
Just don't.
That's your
just
right.
Quit spoiling stuff. Spoil tag your posts, and then people will stop getting pissed off at you for that. Yeah. But anyway, speaking of spoiling posts, Travis, let's move on. Why don't you tell me the Dan Harmon social media minute?
Dan Harmon social media minute. Just an excuse for me to clear my throat.
That was good. That was good.
Yeah. Anyway, Dan Harmon. He's on the social internets on a little website we like to call Instagram. If you were listening to the show last week, I believe it was last week, Dan Harmon talking about being off sugar for quite a while. This in a follow-up post. That's right. Dan's caption says, "You want to investigate my blood sugar? Roll the dice and take your chances. I eat breakfast 3 feet from 40 donuts who are trained to kill me. So don't think for 1 second that you can come down here, flash a stethoscope, and make me nervous." Jack Nicholson, A Few Diabetic Men, 1992. And it's an image of what looks like a very healthy breakfast, maybe some eggs or like a pesto something or other, right next to a box of donuts from, looks like a place called Randy's. Yeah, it's a great looking donut box. There's also some fresh fruit on the table. I don't know what he's eating, but it looks super healthy. Congrats, Dan, on your journey towards stable blood sugar levels, I guess. I don't know what's happening there, but great tweet. And I have to go watch A Few Diabetic Men at some point here in the future.
That's right. You have to do that.
You can't handle the sugar.
Dumb.
Yeah. Thanks.
Unless Dan said it, in which case, genius. Everything he touches turns
genius.
Turns to Kane.
All right. That's it for semi-pertinent news. Bit of a light news week, but that's okay. If you see a Rick and Morty news story that you think we should cover, definitely send it our way. And until next time, that's it for that segment. It's now time for the main thing.
Main thing. Main thing. Ding, 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 ding. Pew, 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 pew.
The 3-hour main thing intro song. That's it.
I'm trying to go into like a very, very like, I don't have a synthesizer here. I can't. I can only go so far into like the kind of spacey main thing that I would love to do.
You need to get a theremin there in your office, so you can just. Wow, Brandon, that's a very accurate impression of a theremin. I can't believe you did that so perfectly.
Yeah, no, I've been practicing in my off time. Well, no more theremin talk here. We could talk about the main thing songs basically all night long, but we're not here to listen to that. We're here to talk about episode 7 of the never before seen until Sunday night's episode of Rick and Morty, Gotron, Jerrysis, Rickvangelion. Initial air date like 3 weeks ago, thanks to Amazon Canada, but official air date August 1st, 2021, written by John Harris and directed by Jacob Hare, guest starring Eric Bauza, who, as I mentioned before, is in the whole Looney Tunes, Warner Brothers stuff, and Darren Criss does some guest voicing, and also does a song with Ryan Elder. Our Ronopsis. Check these ferrets, bruh. Gotta keep it in the family, though. What's our synopsis, Travis?
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a Gotron fella. a Gotron fella.
Yeah.
Like a good ferret.
Good, like a good ferret. Ah, maybe I should have gone that.
It's all right. It's all right. Fix it in post. We're not gonna fix
it. It's all right.
All right. So this is let's talk momentarily, and this isn't in the show notes. Of course, it wouldn't be. Let's talk about the controversy. I don't know if it's controversial. The history of this episode. This dates back all of 3 weeks ago when this episode was leaked. I know on some Amazon streaming platforms, as well as possibly some other platforms, and shown instead of episode 4. And ever since then, this episode has been pretty readily available out on the interwebs, if that's something you're into. Did Brandon be truthful now?
Okay.
Did you wait? Did you wait for prime time for this episode? Or did you just need to scratch that itch and go get your Gotron early?
The only thing I'll be honest, I did not watch the episode. I was spoiled on the episode, but not because I was trying to spoil myself as I normally do. I want to stay true to Rick and Morty, and I want to stay true and not pirate anything. But we had been getting the production info for the episodes ahead of time to help set up the Reddit posts, and I did not get that this week because my wife's birthday was Friday, and so I didn't really have time to reach out and get the production info. But I knew for a fact that the production info was already out there because of the leak. So I went to, I think, the Rick and Morty Wikia or something like that, where they had the writer, they had the director, so I could grab that information off there right away. I did accidentally catch some of the plot because I was looking for just kind of a rough synopsis, but I didn't dig too deep into it. I knew the kind of basic plot details, but I did not watch it. I did not watch it until last night because I wanted to be surprised by it still.
That's good. And I don't even know where to go looking for it. So yeah, no, I didn't watch it either. I don't know. Do you care that it was out early for people? Do you feel like that was a big deal? Do you think people's opinions of this episode may have been different based on the order in which they saw it?
I think I don't know. I would have been interested in seeing an alternate world where it wasn't accidentally released early
Yeah.
to see if the reactions from the fan base would be generally positive or generally negative. Because I think we've talked about this for the last couple weeks, basically this entire season, where we watched an episode, maybe it doesn't leap out at us, and then we watch it a couple more times, and then it actually sticks. I think that the folks who caught this early, who found places that it just appeared in front of them without them looking, it just happened, right?
Right.
They just
Yeah.
slipped and it's like, oh, there's a unreleased
Stumbled upon
episode.
it. Like a pop-up ad in their web browser.
Yeah, exactly. Where they saw it and then they had time to stew on it, and then they're like, okay, actually, maybe at first they didn't like it, but then they thought about it more, and then they grew to appreciate it. Because I think that the folks in the subreddit who had seen it before generally were ended up being positive about it,
Yeah.
and it's the
Yeah.
folks who like their initial reaction is more incest baby stuff. This isn't what I want to. This
Yeah.
isn't what I want to watch. And it doesn't let you get a lot of the nuance of what they're referencing and kind of the subplots of the theme. And we talked about before too. Like I don't normally get the theme right away, and I have to watch it a couple times before it leaps out at me and said, okay, that's what they're trying to say in this episode.
Yeah,
Do you think it would have mattered?
I I don't know. I think I saw a lot of, I don't know if I'd call it hype. I thought there were a lot of people who were talking up this episode, like as others were saying, even in episode 6, like, oh, this episode still wasn't very good. I think this season isn't great. There I would see people that are like, oh, next episode's a good one. It's return to form. It's gonna be great. So seeing those comments, I almost thought, all right, this is gonna be a great episode. Like almost setting the bar too high, and but I thought the show delivered. I really enjoyed the concept. I enjoyed the genres that they mashed together in this episode. So yeah, I really liked it, and so I'm really curious what aspects of the show people just really aren't into, or I don't know. I heard some comments, people saying it's too much like Community now because they're doing similar storylines to things that were in Community, but I don't know.
Yeah, chicken fingers is what I keep saying. Right?
It's the same creative minds, like, to a degree. So yeah, that's gonna be part of it. You're gonna have similar jokes, but I don't know. Let's get into the actual show itself, because I don't know. I think people are either gonna love it or hate it, but I think if they come into it with an open mind, I think they're more likely to enjoy it than, I don't know, pick it apart.
Okay. All right. Well, this episode is all about Rick finds one of the Gotron ferrets, which is a playoff of Voltron.
Not one
It's,
of
instead of
the blue Gotron ferret.
That's right. That's right. And it starts his spiral into addiction, and his addiction of collecting, and the uh, summer kind of not appeasing. What is it when you give people that are addicted things?
Enabling.
They're enabling, yes. Summer enables Rick's addiction to collect more and more Gotrons, to create more and more Gotron robots, which build other Gotron robots to make Gotron robots. And that is essentially what the story is really in its nutshell. But what they end up doing is they frame it, which is in my opinion, a really unique way to frame it. They frame it in a very Martin Scorsese, like Godfather. I know he didn't direct Godfather, that was Francis Ford Coppola, but a very Scorsese type movie with narration, a la Goodfellas and Casino, and even the latest one that was on Netflix.
Was it
That
The
was like
Irishman?
3.5 hours. Yeah, The
Yeah.
Irishman. Yep, yep. And they turn it into an episode about kind of the mob and family. It's all
Right.
about family. Which I thought was really, I thought it was very good. I thought it was effective how they did that, because I wasn't expecting that.
Right. Yeah. And I think, like, if we look back at what I think a lot of fans would categorize as a classic Rick and Morty episode, I think about the Scary Terry episode, right? I think about what's it? What's the title of that?
Oh, no, I was thinking of Anatomy Park, but
Yeah.
a Lawnmower Dog.
Lawn
His name Lawnmower Dog.
Yeah. But like that is an episode that basically does a twist on Inception and plays to an Inception gag, all the while also then getting into like a horror genre and bringing out, you know, Nightmare on Elm Street and those sorts of things, and bringing two very very different types of properties and kind of smashing them together in an interesting way. And so in this, where you take like a Voltron anime spin and then play it through the lens of an Italian mobster family, like I think it's great. I really did think it was great from the very first voiceovers with Morty and Summer in the cold open. I think I sent you a message. I was like, okay, I'm already in with this. just with those voiceovers that they're kind of playing back and forth with. So, yeah.
What I liked about that is they started with the voiceovers, which they have voiceovers in the anime a lot, right? Where they're monologuing internally, and like Goku is talking about trying to beat Frieza or whatever,
Yeah.
and he's just like, oh, I can't even think about like. I don't know if I'm powerful enough. You know, that type of thing. And I thought that's how they were going to go the entire episode. So when they went from an anime internal monologue to a Goodfellas Casino internal monologue, I thought that was a good way of bridging those two genres, mishmashing those two genres together. And talking about like a consistency, going back to season one, going the best of season two, when they introduce a concept and they don't drop it right away, like they don't drop it and then move on to a different concept, which is my complaint with like the Sex Dragon episode, where they start one direction and then they drop that direction entirely and then go in a different direction. This one felt consistent throughout. There was the mob theme throughout the entire episode, rather than getting to the first commercial break, they come back and now the mob stuff is dropped entirely. They stuck with it, and I think that's what made it more effective to me on a first watch.
Yeah, and I mean, we've talked a lot about the pacing of the episodes this season and how sometimes they almost feel rushed because they're getting so much packed into, or you know, around 22 minutes or so. I do feel like the episode held up under repeat viewings. I feel like I don't think I got a whole lot more out of it under repeat viewings. I don't know what's going on with my voice, guys. This is the raspy episode. I'm sorry. But yeah, so but it did give me more time to appreciate some of the subtle jokes and other things, and really, like, as we talked, all of the different, you know, mob movies and different ways that they were able to kind of compress that whole genre in and give nods to a lot of different classic films, and not make it feel like, I don't know, they're trying to do too much. I don't know. I think it's a great episode. Dang it, I do, and I will defend it.
I do too. I I like that they bring up the Scorsese stuff because it's all about family. Uh, they even like there's even an aviator reference in there that somebody in Reddit had pointed out, and I'm sorry I'm not giving you credit, but when Rick is going crazy and he's talking about blueprints, show me the blueprints. That's from The Aviator with Leonardo DiCaprio,
Okay.
also
All right.
Scorsese one. Uh, but like family is such an important thing in those films. Going back to the Godfather series is all about family and generations of family and how different generations of family they learn to survive in different ways. Godfather is originally about Brando, and like he does everything for family. Everything is for family, and then Michael takes over, uh, and then he slowly in Godfather 2 wrecks the family and creates kills Fredo. Spoiler alert for a movie that's
Oh,
over 30 years
oh,
old.
sorry. Tag your spoilers, Brandon.
And then Godfather 3. But there's that betrayal stuff that happens, that like you care about family, but you're willing to sacrifice family, which is the same thing that Summer does in this episode, right? Where she, essentially she sabotages Morty, and in the family way. I don't know if she was the one who got hothead Rick there to wreck the thing. It's kind of implied, similarly to how Fredo was almost got Michael assassinated in Godfather 2. It
How do
seems like
you
she
how
got
do
rid of
you feel
Morty.
like that was how do you feel like that was implied that she got hothead there?
It seems as though it's implied because in her voiceover, she kind of talks about being rid of Morty finally.
Okay.
Uh,
All right.
yeah.
Yeah, and she does happen to be exiting the building right before all that goes down. So
Yeah.
all right, bring me your
and I
conspiracy theories. Let's hear it. But
and I think in Godfather 2, I think Michael makes Fredo like the deputy head of security or something like that at some point in time.
yeah, probably.
I don't know.
That
I
would
don't
make
know.
sense. We need to go back and watch every mob movie now, just so that we can fully appreciate this episode. Which I also wonder if there are fans out there who have not seen very many films in that genre and maybe missed out on a lot of references because of that. So, yeah, maybe you like can generally understand like, oh, they're doing like a mob thing, but how on the nose some of these references seem to be, I think you really have to understand those original films and or at least have seen them potentially recently to fully appreciate some of the different nods that they make. So yeah, that's like the mob family aspect of it. I mean, I don't know that we have to explain too much about the anime part. Like there were anime characters, there's a Gotron thing. That it was all there. I thought that they did made some interesting like references and commentary about anime with some of the characters in the episode. But in general, like it's anime's in there too. It's almost secondary to me. It's visually like it's everywhere, but the anime commentary is almost secondary compared to the family and the mob mentality that they play out in. So, go ahead.
What I was gonna say is I agree with some of the comments out there that said that the anime commentary seemed like a commentary that somebody who'd never watched anime was making. It was shallow in that sense. Like,
Yeah.
oh, the pluses for teeth and the making random sounds at the end of sentences, that type of thing. It felt very like grade school making fun of anime.
Yeah,
I would
I will credit that with that for sure.
yeah. But they're moving on from that. I already mentioned the addiction piece about the episode and the enabling Rick. Rick's ability to take things too far. We saw at the beginning of the episode that Morty was actually like telling him like, remember what you told me. Like sometimes enough is enough. And he's like, yeah, you're right. Like keeping him grounded. and then Summer coming in and taking charge. What do you feel about Rick's ability to take things too far?
Well, and I the first thing I think about if you say Rick taking things too far is I think back to the vat of acid episode, right? Because this is a situation where Rick comes up with an idea. I'm going to use a fake vat of acid to get out of a situation. Morty just completely bashes it, and instead of moving on, instead of being the bigger person, he develops this entire system to trick Morty into killing all sorts of other Mortys and doing all these horrible things in different versions of different realities, and then forcing him to use a vat of acid to get out of it. Like, to me, that is quintessential Rick taking things too far. So I think that early moment when Rick's kind of spinning and he's using the adrenaline off of this amazing Gotron fight that the entire family enjoyed and everybody had a great time, and there's a lot of serotonin like coursing through his veins or whatever. He's like, "Oh, we can go further. We can go bigger." And it speaks to Morty's relationship with Rick that he can step in and say, "Hey, you've told me in the past to call you on this stuff and kind of talk you off of going too far." And if it had just been the two of them, maybe that's where it ends, right? That's the end of it. But in that same moment, Summer is feeling this rush of being on Rick's good side, being the right hand grandchild, and having that access to Rick that she doesn't always have. And there's more commentary later on about Summer being the fifth wheel in the family, right? And not necessarily always having someone, which they've commented on a little bit or in earlier episodes too. I think the decoy episode, they talk about the Ricks and Mortys, the Beths and Jerrys, and also the Summers, right? Like,
Yeah.
so there's definitely some reoccurring theme there, but she would rather let Rick spin out if it gives her that access and gives her that validation that she's important and she's somewhat in control, which ultimately she's not, because by the end of it we see Rick firing all of them, and she gets cast aside, just like everybody else.
Yeah, in Summer in this season, she's had a couple moments where where they go to the planets to go suck and and do other stuff to aliens and get high and stuff like that. You know, there she wants to be close to her grandfather. She wants to do all this type of fun stuff, but she hasn't had the same negative experiences that Morty has had time and time again. Uh, it may maybe she has that we haven't seen it, but based off of the episodes that we've seen, she hasn't had that same experience that Morty has,
Yeah.
that same history, and so Morty has a little bit of leeway to be like, "Hey, I've seen this crap. You're an asshole. I'm gonna call you on being an asshole." And he has a little bit more clout because they have that relationship. They have that. The show is called Rick and Morty.
Yeah,
It's not
yeah.
called
They are
Rick and
the
Summer.
titular characters, right? So
Yeah.
I don't know. I think there's like we're still talking themes, but and we'll get into the reappearance of a somewhat disliked character from this season. But yeah, like there's a lot in this episode about Summer wanting to feel accepted within the Smith family, and sort of trying to find her place. Right? She doesn't always feel like she belongs, but she's very capable of doing some pretty intense things, as we see in this episode as well.
As we've seen. Well, let's go ahead and talk about our I want to talk about our best and worst parts. Let me just ask you this question about giant incest space baby. She develops a bond with with incest baby, and I'm gonna say incest 60 times, just because I think that's
can we get the incest counter up? Can we
she develops a relationship with it. I this is just I don't expect a real answer for this because none of us know. I'm okay with not seeing this thing for another, season or two. I'm okay with it not showing up very, very sporadically. But why doesn't Morty give a shit about Giant Space Baby? Uh, you know,
Morty is clearly a deadbeat dad. Morty, this isn't Morty's first kid, right?
that's right. Oh,
He's had Morty Jr., right? He's already been a father. He's experienced these things, and he wasn't around. Unfortunately, he wasn't around when the baby was launched into space and born as a satellite incest space baby.
so it's not really his fault. It's not really his fault, right?
I don't know. I don't know why. I'm not trying to
He'd be
justify any of this.
he could be a good father if they had only given him a chance, but they didn't tell him that the baby was back. They went instinctively to the mother, and that's the problem with today's U.S. law. They always go to the mother first, right? Well, I know some god darned good fathers out there, and you best give them a chance, U.S. government. You best give them a chance.
Makes you wonder what else they're spending your tax money on. So one of my favorite one of my favorite Jerry lines. But we've already stepped into the topic. So does the reappearance of giant monster incest baby, does it in any way change your opinions of episode 4?
No, it doesn't. Episode 4 was still not a great episode. It was very it felt very juvenile for the sake of being juvenile, and to throw around the incest space baby term over and over again. And I generally uh, I was okay with the sperm episode, but generally I don't think it was a good episode.
No,
In
I
some
don't.
in some ways, I almost think it's worse than Sex Dragon episode, because the Sex Dragon episode I laughed. The sperm episode I was like, yeah, I mean I came up with this when I was 16, a version of it, and
Yeah.
we talked about this before.
Yeah.
So I'm cool. They brought back some uh serialization. They canonized the baby. It is a real thing now. But I hope they don't keep going back to it as often as they do the president in this season.
Oh yeah, absolutely not. I don't. I'm like, can we move on now? Like, okay, it was out there in space. We only waited a few episodes. We've reintroduced it, and it beat the Gotron. Can we move on? Can we leave giant Naruto out in space and move on from this? Because yeah, I don't know. Maybe this is what we get for asking the writers for serialization and making like long-term story arcs. This is their response is, all right, oh, you want a story arc? All right, we got something for you. But yeah, no, I hopefully this is it. But I do
What
I was gonna say I
what
do
what
like how they sort of critiqued the existence of the incest baby, like within the episode. Was it hothead Rick being like, yeah, this is the guy that these guys made an incest baby, and they're like, well, what can we get past that or whatever? So
are we ever gonna get past that?
Yeah.
So here is the thing I don't like about this episode in bringing up the space baby so close, right? Season 1, they introduced this idea of evil Morty, and how long before they actually bring evil Morty back into the fold? They wait basically till season 3.
right.
A lot of the serialized aspects of the show that fans have grown to kind of latch onto have all been spread out over an entire season, over 2 seasons. They don't always bring it up right away. And uh the thing about the Space Baby that I don't really like is that production wise, Rick Dependent Spray wasn't that far off from the Space Baby episode. And them putting jokes in there ahead of time is already saying like, yeah, we know people are going to be upset about this, and they're already doing it for a reaction. They're preemptively doing it for a reaction,
Yeah.
and to me, that is, it's trying to get a rise out of people, and then commenting on how you got to. It's like the Daniel Tosh of Rick and Morty, where you say stuff to get a rise out of people, and then you make a joke about them having gotten a rise out of things. That's what the Space Baby stuff feels like to me.
I can see that. Yeah, I could see why Brandon dislikes that for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm okay with being used. Just
Sure.
just not when it comes to that.
Yeah.
Space Baby
So
stuff.
whether or not that falls into best or worst parts, probably closer to the worst part of the spectrum. In terms of best parts of the episode, really solid post-credit scene in this one. Thought it was terrific with the regular-sized bugs that go through interdimensional portals to try and spread the cure for AIDS. Really wholesome stuff.
One part lemon juice, 3 bay leaves.
Yeah, and something else we'll never know. We'll never know. But yeah. What if they don't speak? What was it like?
Buganese.
Buganese. That's why we say it very loudly. Yeah. Just really solid stuff. I thought that was great. Really good post credit scene for sure.
Very, very much so. The Gotron animations, I mean, spot on, so great. I love the animation for the Gotron transformation, the Gogotron transformation, and just the sense of scale and the sense of details, even in the Space Baby fight.
Yeah,
so much stuff happening there.
There's a background like illustration, painting, whatever. However they make background images of like the triple Gotron when they're building it, and like the details of like the multiple ferrets in the arms and different things like that. Somebody spent a lot of time on that, and I appreciate whatever background artist put that together, because it really looks terrific. So that to me was probably one of the highlights for the episode. Was a lot of that Gotron animation and the way that they enter the Gotron and all of those things. How the Gotron ferret exits its hiding places. That's actually one of my favorite bits. Let's go ahead and get into
let's talk about that.
To our favorite bits from this episode. The Morty's Gotron having to leave a parking garage was one of the first times I think I like laughed out loud in this episode. Seeing it try to crawl out of that little space, I thought was hilarious.
Yeah, and that's a joke that doesn't get old. I laughed at it every time. My family laughed at it every time. And him trying to get the ticket the second time when they're all of them. What I liked about that too, the Gotron ferrets normally, like Power Rangers and all that type of stuff, the color of the robot usually is tied to the environment that they come from. But like the green ferret came out of a volcano, the red ferret came out of the water, I think, like that. Nothing came out from where it was tied to color wise.
Yeah.
As Power Rangers would point out. So I like that aspect. The shout out to Ryan Elder, Darren Chris for coming out with the montage music, a bit of pasta with some anime combined. It's great. And if you listen to the full track, it starts off at a very mob-esque, like jazz type number, old school 30s, 40s, and it turns into a very modern song. It's very, very cool. Like a robotic kind of space song, which is where the main thing idea came from earlier.
Yeah, actually,
Very cool.
Credit to Ryan Elder for not only scoring a fantastic episode, but doing 2 original songs. Unfortunately, only one shows up on Spotify as a full track, but also a very musically harmonious Boo World theme also going over the credits in this episode. So great job there. One of my favorite little one-liners is a new nickname for Summer when Rick calls her Summer Camp and gives her a little fist bump. We've had some, but Summer Camp I thought was really good.
Summer Camp, yeah. Notice that this is like the second or third time this season. Well, the second time this season, maybe the third time in 2 seasons that we've seen Morty with an ecto cooler. I think there's an ecto cooler reference earlier with the Hell episode, and then ecto cooler is in the Sex Dragon episode in the Horde of stuff.
Yes.
So bring back ecto cooler, especially with the Ghostbusters Afterlife coming out.
Ghostbusters, what's it called?
Afterlife.
Afterlife. That's right. Yeah. Bring back High C. I know you're big listeners of this podcast. High C Marketing needs to get on the ecto cooler train. If you're too young,
yeah, make sure you go to lootcrate.com/high-C.
We're just gonna keep talking over each other.
lootcrate.com/high-C, RMP 15% off.
Get your crate of ecto cooler sent directly to your home. Some of my favorite Ricks from this episode, Little Ricky wrap up, I thought was great, and also Yo-Yo Rick putting in some good screen time as well. I got a chuckle out of the random sounds that the anime Gotron characters would make at the end of their sentences. Some of those were just funny to me. Yeah, and Jerry thinking that I brought you into this world, I can take you out of it was legally binding and not just something that mothers say. There's a lot of great Jerry lines in that living room scene towards the end of the episode that kind of just get rushed over, and it's very easy to miss them. But they do some powerhouse writing for Jerry in that scene.
Like the I'm very easy to make happy, which is why nobody gives a shit if I am.
Yeah.
or whatever. Like that. Not saying that speaks to me because my family does a lot to make me happy. But when you're a happy person, and you're always smiling and you're always just going with the flow. People you kind of get overlooked. They're like, oh no, that person's good. He's good.
He's good. Yeah,
he's good. You have on here, which I agree with. Rick Gun. Say hello to my little me.
Bang 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 bang. The bang bangs is the best part of that whole thing. Yeah.
I really dug that. You and I talked last night about all the mob references, the Scorsese references, the Brian De Palma Scarface reference is not as if people nowadays, I say kids, but if younger folks who have not seen Godfather, not seen Goodfellas, not seen those movies, they will still know the Scarface reference because they will have seen it somewhere else. They may never have seen that movie, but they will have seen that scene that is referenced there. So
absolutely.
And then finally the voice ovarians. That what a great way to tie up the episode, sticking with that theme of voiceovers and then closing it out, having there be a logical reason why Morty and Summer are having a voiceover.
Some of that voiceover, the part when they're getting ready to go into the Gotron tubes, and Morty has his voiceover, and he's like, "Can you hear me?" And the voiceovers are like talking to each other, and Summer's like, "Can I hear you, or can Summer hear you, or can the voiceover hear you?" Right? Like, it's funny in the first time you watch it, but then if you think about it in the context of these voiceovarians that are somehow parasites talking to each other or something, then it just adds a whole nother level of like Oh, okay. Like that's how that worked. I get it now. Okay. So yeah, I thought that was really funny. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, man. Oh, you mentioned Yo-Yo Rick earlier. This is my last bit. I just I really liked that Yo-Yo Rick was found, and Summer was a fixer for Yo-Yo Rick mutilating a Jerry.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that was a corpse of a Jerry mutilated in his bed.
Certainly appeared that way. Very very dark moment, but another opportunity for summer camp to shine and move up in the family. So,
Yeah.
overall, I thought this was a really good episode. One thing that we'll note, like a week after I talk about a new segment where we'll do interdimensional bits and talk about the interdimensional cable bit from each episode, we didn't get one. We didn't have an interdimensional cable clip in this episode, so we won't belabor that for too long. But yeah, I found that interesting. And next week's teaser for the episode, very very curious if this is going to be some sort of special kind of episode or if it's going to be a solo Rick adventure, hinting at a lot of different possibilities. So
Hinting at emotions, especially with the title as a reference to Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. You know, we don't. Nobody wants to jump to conclusions, but maybe we'll see something fairly serialized there. They mentioned Pickle Rick. They talk about him. We're talking about the opening for next week's episode. For those who are listening right now, they also talk about like he's being humble in that moment, and who knows what we're gonna get next week. Here, fingers crossed, we get 3 more good episodes out of the season before season 5 ends, and Reddit turns around and say, "This is strike that. Everything up to this point was filler. This is the real real meat and potatoes
absolutely.
of season 5."
Speaking of the real meat and potatoes, it's time to get into everybody's favorite segment, listener suggestions and short outs. Big short out this week to Coeus 1469 over on our YouTube channel, who left this comment on last week's video. They said we should play a game, mute Brandon while he's doing the main thing transition song. Best guess for what he's experiencing wins. It's the eyes behind the glasses that reveal all. So you heard it. Brand new game for fans of the show. Head out to our YouTube page, youtube.com/apathetic enthusiasm. Pick an episode, whether it's this episode, maybe an older episode. It kind of go a few minutes in, check out those first transition songs, mute it, and then let's hear your interpretations of what Brandon is thinking, feeling, and experiencing as he does that transition music. I'd love to see those comments. So head on out.
A hole in the wall where the boys can see it all. That's what I think of with my eye. With the eyes behind the glasses reveal all.
Garmanarnar. Sorry.
And for his 16th consecutive season,
Bobby Moynihan.
That's right.
It's good stuff. It's a great show. It's a great show, guys.
I want to say thanks to everybody for listening to this. We got 3 more episodes left in the season. It won't be our last episode. We have more than 3 episodes left in the season because we always have a recap. We talked about doing a trivia thing, which would be fun. We won't drop you right away, but make sure you go out to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever. Tell your friends. Make sure to subscribe to us, and follow us over at Rick and Morty Pod on Twitter. The email stuff that Travis mentioned before, Rick and Morty Podcast, our website, all that stuff.
You know the links.
You know them. You know them. You love them. We appreciate the hell out of each and every one of you. And we will be here again next week. Same Rick time, same Morty channel. Travis, any parting words for our friends in compatriots?
No, just thanks for listening. We're gonna go do our Twitch only post show. So if you're watching on Twitch, stick around. Everybody else, have a fantastic week, and we'll see you next time. Until then, I'm Travis.
And I'm Brandon. Goodbye to you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Flip the top. Bye. Do. Bye. Skibby dop. Bye. Do. Bye. I love Hanson.